Welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast, in association with Simcoe Training. This is the weekly podcast where we share best practice, tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your dealership or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett. Now, some of you probably already know me as Skippy. I want to start by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Selling in the Motor Trade. We've got a bite-sized one for you today, cash conversions. A real quick one for you. Far too often, we get business managers saying, how do we deal with the customer that says, no, it's cash for me. My mother always said, if I can't afford it, don't buy it. It's always done me in good stead. Firstly, I would say to the business managers, the sales managers, listen to this, stop asking your salespeople how you're funding the car or how's your customer funding the car. Tell you why. If you say to your salesperson, how are they funding the car? Okay, how are they funding it? Your salesperson repeats the question pretty much exactly the same way to the customer. And when you say to a customer, how are you funding the car? Guess what every customer still says in 2023? Cash. Because they think they're going to get a better deal. Now, we know the customer's not going to get a better deal if it's cash, but you still have, websites out there like We Buy Your Car saying, hey, listen, sell your car to us. You may get a better deal if you're a cash customer. You might get a tradesman coming to your house and say, right, to do that job, the Sparky might say it's $600, £600. How much for cash, mate? They might knock a bit off because, of course, they're not paying tax. We can't do that stuff in the motor trade. But actually, people still feel like they might get a better deal if they say cash. So the first thing is stop saying how you fund the car. Oh, by the way, I know that some sales trainers teach people, say, hey, where's the cash coming from? A savings account or loan account? I know I was taught that. And it's been taught in good intentions, but I'd really recommend avoiding it. Because when you say to a customer, where's the cash coming from? A savings account or a loan account? What are you actually calling the customer? You're right. You're calling him a liar. And whenever you ever called a customer a liar and got away with it, just doesn't work. Go down the assumptive route. Okay. You want to turn around and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, how many payments do you have left on your car? Or when's the next payment due? Or, hey, what's your guaranteed minimum future value? Okay. When's your optional final payment due? Something like that to assume the customers are on finance. Because let's be honest, lots of people are. So that's the first thing. Assumptive, assumptive, assumptive. Oh, and by the way, if you're one of the dealerships that you want your salespeople to say to a customer, what budget do they have in mind for that new car? Please be careful. In fact, in this current market, I'd say be careful actually on saying to a customer, what are your current repayments? $400 a month. Because you know, and I know, the next line is, oh, what did you want your payments to be this time? Well, 410. But what chances have you got of getting that customer into the similar car for the same payments what they were back in 2019, 2020? You got more chance of swimming to Australia from the UK than you have, okay? Because we know what's happened with interest rates. We know the price of the customer's trade-in went up. It's starting to come back down now, okay? And the price of new cars went up. That's a real dangerous situation. Now, on our sales fitness training program, we talk about lots of different ways to qualify the customer's budget in the right way. However, if you do say to a customer, what budget did you have in mind? And they say 30,000, change the wording and just add, what monthly budget did you have in mind? 500 a month. I still love this line. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, if I had a car that was over 500 a month, should I tell you about it or should I keep it to myself? What do they always say? Well, tell me about it. What if they said you could do their budget? Now, again, though, I'd be very cautious about asking that budget. And if you want to look at different ways how to deal with that, have a look at our Sales Fitness Masterclass specifically. We talk lots of different ways to find out customers' budget without directly asking it, because they're going to kick you in the soft bits, and then you're in a funny place called knackered. Okay, so that's some different ideas on that. Firstly, don't ask how are you funding the car. Assumptive, assumptive, assumptive. But here's one of the quickest and easiest cash conversions. In fact, I forgot about this, but I want to reintroduce some of you guys to this. And this, again, might be one of those episodes you want to play in your sales meeting, your morning sales meeting. You might try this one. If a customer does say, oh, no, it's cash for me. My mother always said, if I can't afford it, don't buy it. It's always put me in good stead. You know what? I used to think that, Mr. Customer, until I realized that most customers take advantage of Volkswagen Bank's low-rate finance they're doing at the moment. You see, can I ask you a cheeky question? If your house was worth half of what it was worth in 3 or 4 years' time, would you rent it or would you buy it? Honestly, think it through, guys. If your house was going to be worth half of what it was worth in 3 or 4 years' time, would you rent it or would you buy it? Guess what? You'd probably rent it, because why would you ever put your hard-earned money into a depreciating asset? Okay. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, before I started the motor trade, I would see that monthly payment at $499 a month or $269 a month and think it was kind of like dead money, kind of like rent. Here's the difference. Rent might be dead money because houses tend to go up in value. Cars, unfortunately, tend to go down in value. Okay. So if your house was going to be worth half what it was worth in 3 or 4 years' time, would you rent it or would you buy it? No, you'd rent it. Why would you ever put your hard-earned money into a depreciating asset? Now, here's another one you might want to have a look at. Quickest cash conversion. Go to your manufacturer's website. Have a look at some of the finance offers they've got. And if a customer's looking at a Tiguan, I might show this example on a Tiago or something like that. If they're looking for a Polo, I might show this example on the Tiguan. But you might do this. You say, and by the way, I always use the offers on your manufacturer because we know they tend to have great finance deposit contributions, finance deposit allowances on it, the low rate finance, because they're the offers our manufacturer's trying to push. So a customer says, I'm cash. I'm going to pick up an example of, let's say, a Tiago in the Volkswagen world. And again, I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Customer, I used to think that was the best way to buy a car until I realized that most customers here take advantage of Volkswagen Bank's low rate finance. Because a cheeky question, but if your house was going to be worth half what it was worth in 3 or 4 years' time, would you rent it or would you buy it? Well, let's have a look at this example here in Ireland. The payments on this example, it works out on the Tiago at $269 a month. I used to see that as dead money, almost like rent. The difference is houses tend to go up in value. Cars tend to go down in value. You see, that car's a 470 euro car. But you see, lots of cars lose about half their value in 3 or 4 years' time. Now, everyone knows that Volkswagen's a lot better than that. So instead of that being worth 31,000 in 3 years' time, let's just say it's worth 18,000, something like that. You know, that's cost you 13,470 euros purely in depreciation. Now, if you do that over 36 months, that's going to work out at over 300 euros anyway, purely in depreciation. You know, to be fair, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, to get that offer price down to 269, there's a big old deposit there. That's going to be 30% the maximum. But you're still going to have 20-odd thousand in the bank for a rainy day. But listen, what I'll do is I'll work out some numbers and let you decide. It's the quickest and the easiest cash conversion I've ever seen. Just take into account the depreciation of the car. Now, that's why we pick a car, not that they're buying. Show the example of it. So take the monthly payment that they're advertising. Again, I'm doing this for the Irish market because I looked at these figures yesterday, and that's 269 euros for the Tiago. The car is 31,000, okay? Just take the 31,000, say, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, that car's going to be worth, I don't know, I haven't got a crystal ball here, something like, let's just say 18. It still costs you 13,470 470 euros over that 3 years to drive the car, purely in depreciation anyway. Or if we have a look at if I can remember the numbers, we looked at a Tiguan. That Tiguan had an offer of 499 euros a month. That Tiguan's probably going to be 44,000 euros, something like that. I can't remember the number, okay? But Mr. or Mrs. Customer, that 499, I used to see that as dead money. But if you take the 44,000 for the price of the car, if we look at that over 3 years' time, most cars lose about half the value in about 3 years' time. Now, the Tiguan's going to be a lot better than that. I haven't got a crystal ball here, but let's just say that car's worth, I don't know, let's just say it's worth 26,000. Okay, take the 44,000 from the 6,000. Guess what? That car's going to cost you 18,000, if my math's right there. Okay, over the next 3 years. Divide that by the 36 months. That's going to work out at something like 480 or 460 euros a month to drive that car. So actually, to finance that car, it's only costing you 30 euros a month. Now, to be fair, there's a big old deposit to get that low rate at 499 a month. Or sorry, that low payment of 499 a month. Even if it's 30%, you're still going to have what? 26, 28,000 euros in your bank for a rainy day. But listen, don't worry, I'll work out some numbers, let you decide. I think the last bit's important because what I also love to do is with the users of Foursquare, please, if you're not using Foursquare, speak to us. Get on the phone, ask for me personally. I'll talk you through about how it can really, really help your business there. But then we're going to offer finance to every single customer, every single time. Hey, listen, I'll work out some numbers, let you decide. You might just be amazed how many times cash customers say, what APR is that? Okay. Oh, how's that PCP that I told you before was the work of the devil? Does that work again? It might be a great way to get your business manager speaking to the customer. Anyway, some different tips, different ideas for you to try on this one here. So if you like this sort of stuff, this is what we talk about on our sales fitness program. Our sales fitness program is where we send a video a day in a structured format to people who have just started in the process in the motor industry, I should say, experienced people on the masterclass, in today's service advisor, speak to the guys in the office. We'll get you guys set up on it. It's just $299 a month. So you get 3 months of training for £100 a month. It's the cheapest training and very cost effective. And these are some of the things we talk about there all the time. We kick around lots of different ideas to drip feed the information. Anyway, that about does it for now. And thanks again for subscribing to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast. I know lots of people do because you get the notifications all the time. I really do appreciate it. And send this through to as many people as you can because this is going to help someone out there to overcome that objection. That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the Selling in the Motor Trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn. Thank you.